Well, it's exciting, it's exhilarating, it's a great sport. And I used to love squash, but I wouldn't recommend it for someone my age or size because it can have an instant effect on you. But squash is a really great thing, and it's good to see that we've got an opportunity today to provide some support, QNI resources, for the Dalrymple Squash Club. So we hope that that will help people in Townsville enjoy life a bit more. You know, Townsville's a great place. There's so much you can do, and it's a great community, but it needs more activity. Over the next couple of months, I'll be announcing a number of things that we'll be doing to make Townsville great. Very exciting things, some international projects we're working on, and it'll keep you guys smiling instead of wandering around trying to find the news. We'll bring it to you, but it'll be exciting stuff. It'll be international. So I'd like to present to Scott. You got a check there for Scott? A donation of $10,000 to the Dalrymple Squash Club, right? And this will go a long way, I think, to helping you in the club and also for your new tournament coming up.
Exactly. Yeah.
You want to say a few words, Scott?
Yeah, well, first off, I'd like to thank Clive and the QNI resources. This is a huge opportunity for us. As Clive was saying, squash is a sport that is now recognised as the healthiest sport in the world. And what we aim to do with this is promote, encourage and get into the community, get available to everyone in the community to build this place up. Squash used to be the biggest, or Townsville used to be the biggest squash hub in Queensland back in the 80s. It's died off, and it's going to be my job to get this back up and going again, and this is going to help immensely. So thank you very much, Clive. I appreciate that.
Scott, good on you. All right, so is there any questions anybody's got?
Yeah, sorry, Clive.
Yeah?
Could I just have my phone back?
I got your phone, didn't I?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's it. That's all right. If
Oh,
I could just put it
looks
there,
like
I'll
my
just put
phone.
it
It looks like my phone. I've got one too. See,
there. Okay, great.
I got confused, but I can afford my own phone. All right. Any questions there?
Clive, you've appointed Clive Vincent to be the director for the European Titanic 2 venture.
That's right. Yeah. Sorry.
Talk us through that appointment.
Well, Clive's got a lot of experience on Titanic. When we first started the project, he was responsible for the testing of the designs for Titanic 2 in the Netherlands. He's currently based in Europe, and we needed someone to carry that through, and he's the ideal person for it.
There's a lot of people in Australia think he should come back and face the music. If he's running a business overseas, why can't he come back and answer questions?
Well, of course, he's always been available to come back to Australia, but they won't pay his airfare. They expect him to fund himself to come back to answer their questions. He's offered to meet them in Europe. He's offered to answer any questions by video link or in writing, but they've rejected that because they basically want publicity as a political stunt. You see, Clive Mensing's not guilty of anything. He's not charged with anything. He hasn't done anything wrong. And he's a person that this city should be very grateful for, because in 2009, BHP was going to close Queensland Nickel down, sack 1,500 people at the time, and which would have lost another 1,500 jobs for Queensland. He stepped in and he ran the operation for 7 years, saving 3,000 jobs for North Queensland, making around about, what would it be, $3.5 billion of exports for the city and activity, bringing the cost of production of nickel down from $8.50 under BHP to $4.20. That's an outstanding story, no doubt about it. There's no other person alive today living in Townsville that has done more for this city or the community. And during that time, Queensland Nickel donated $40 million to sport. And it's good that we can do the same sort of thing today. Because, Mike, gee, the city needs it, and that's one of the reasons it's on top of my priority.
You said they wouldn't pay his airfare. Are you suggesting he's short of a quid?
No, I'm not, but he spent 3.5 months with the liquidator before he left, answering all of their questions, everything they wanted to know. They said they didn't have any more questions. He said it was fine to go on your overseas trip, that's fine, and he did. So, you know, it's a civil matter, it's not a criminal matter like the press makes out. It's equivalent to a parking ticket. So, you know, if they'd like to see him, he's available. If they'd like to telephone him, he's available. If they'd like to have a video link, he's available. If they'd like to send him a letter, answer some questions, he's available. I mean, I get people on Skype every night in New York and London, so there's no problem with that. So he's a great guy. I'm happy to utilise him on that project. He's certainly in demand internationally for his talent and ability.
You don't think it's a slap in the face to the people that lost their jobs here?
Not at all, because the reason the people lost their jobs here was because the liquidator sacked them. When we offered to pay all the creditors and to transfer all the employees to a new company, the liquidator refused and sacked them. He did that for political reasons. That's all. You haven't seen any other liquidation in Australia get the coverage that this has got, and it's only because of me. But I've got a strong commitment to Townsville and the people of Townsville, and we want to regenerate this city because it needs the investment and needs support. And we're just flushed with money, so we can do that.
Clive, how are your negotiations going with Glencore and the port?
Well, we just had a meeting this morning. It was pretty good, really. They've taken more time than I would have liked, but they've drafted some leases which they presented to us, and we're now going to work through those and go back with them. So I hope we'll be in a position in the next couple of months to finalise that document, which means we can immediately employ 100 people.
So yeah, just terms and agreements now to go through, I guess.
Well, we don't know. We haven't read it all through at the moment, so it's too premature to comment on that. But I think it's a positive sign. Our discussions with them were very positive. Renee Crosby is a very positive person, very loyal to Townsville, want to promote the city, so it's good, and we certainly want to create more jobs here if we can.
Discussions about a second refinery popping up in Bluewater under another company. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it would take about 5 to 7 years to do a feasibility study and to permit a new project. They've got no feasibility and they've got no cash, and they're seeking to raise money from the North Queensland Infrastructure Fund. And we saw that the $10 million was a problem. Now, I can't see how they can raise $1 billion, which is our estimate of the capital cost for what they want to build, not 300 million. So we don't think it's a reality.
Don't think it's a threat?
No.
A bit of a political question. I know previously you've announced you wouldn't mind running a council team. Those council elections are getting closer. Any developments in that space? Yeah,
we'll be running in the council elections. We've got a mayoral candidate we'll be announcing soon, and a full team of councillors. So we think the city needs a boost. I mean, this foreshore here should be developed differently. We think the town plan needs revision. We think a lot can happen to make the city a stronger and a better place for the people who live here. So we'll be running a team and giving people that option. It's not so terrible for people to have a choice on which way they want to go. Many people think that's terrible, but it's good. That's what a democracy is all about.
What should happen to the Strand Club?
Well, we think it should be, if you have a look at Magnetic Island here, you realise the Barrier Reef's only 50 kilometres away. Townsville should be the gateway to the Barrier Reef. If you look at all the development that's taken place in Cairns and the numbers of tourists that go through Cairns, Townsville should certainly play a key role in all of that. And the reason it hasn't is because we've had a council here which hasn't had the right town plan. They haven't had the right emphasis on the tourist industry. They don't see the tourist industry as a great asset for Townsville. They don't see Townsville as a town in the tourist industry. They see it more as a backwater. It's lost its opportunity, and they're not trying to create that opportunity. So we think that that's important.
Very recent IPCC report said the reef's in real strife. As someone who could potentially be the federal member for Herbert, what are your thoughts on that report?
Well, I think really we've got to concentrate more on the people that live here, basically, and their livelihood. The people are in trouble in Townsville. Their living standards are dropping. Jobs are falling away. Businesses are closing. You can go down Palmer Street and the main streets of the city and you'll see that half the shops are vacant. That's the thing to concentrate on first. With the Barrier Reef, I've got great confidence in the ability of the reef to regenerate itself. I've been visiting the reef since about 1965 and I've seen it in a very difficult situations, crown of starfish, etc. And over time, the reef's got a great resilience. So I'm very confident that that'll still be there for future generations.
You don't believe the 90 scientists who have said that we're in real strife?
Well, I certainly don't believe what they're saying that we've been in real strife here since 1959. I can tell you that. If you go back to every report, it says that. But then again, if it's your job to attract money to investigate that strife, you're going to make sure you say it's in strife, because if they come and say everything's fine, they haven't got a job. So a lot of this is self-promotion so that they can get jobs. Simple as that.
You've let us know this morning you've got the draft guidelines for the port agreement. I guess once that's finalised, what's the next step for the refinery?
Well, as soon as the port agreement's finalised, we want to employ 100 people immediately and get them on the port, because we haven't been on the port for 2 years. A lot of the equipment will have deteriorated, need replacing. They'll need further capital investment. We've got to first see what the situation is and assess that. Then we've got to order equipment and get that being regenerated. And once we've got a timeline established for the port, we can then start establishing timelines for other parts of the operation, so it can all come together and start at the one time.
And for QNI to be in full swing, would you put a timeline on that?
It's very difficult because there are still some unknowns there, but and some of them don't involve me. But I would hope that would be in the order from that time, the order of 11 to 13 months range. till you're in full operation. Certainly you'll have things starting before then, but full swing, something like that.
And full swing, how many workers would you employ?
Well, it would be somewhere in the order of 600 to 800 workers, you know, depending on what we're doing. Because the other thing we want to do is double the capacity of the refinery. You know, BHP spent $1.2 billion building a second line, and that was never fully operational. Needs about $150 million spent to complete it, and that's one of the things we would do. But one of our policies would be, unlike the stadium here, which imports their electrical cabling and all their things from Brisbane and Melbourne, and brings their workforce in from outside Townsville, we'd be wanting to use Townsville people to do our construction and our capital work, so there's jobs created in the city, not externally. Alrighty, so is everybody happy? God bless Townsville. See you later.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
See ya. Take your photo.
Thank you.